kind of thought like, yeah, you don't want to forget that it happened. Of course it didn't work. Do I want to be there? No. Do I want to talk with that person? Heck no. But it happened, and I'm so grateful for the life experience it taught me.
Yes. Well, Perrie, hello and welcome to No Filter.
Hello.
So I opened my Instagram app over the weekend and I was greeted with some really beautiful news from you announcing your pregnancy. And in this moment of going through that huge life moment, and you're about to release your debut album and the build up to that, how are you doing in this moment with these two huge monumental events happening at the same time?
Good. There's a lot going on. But it's kind of just like really exciting. I feel like there's just so much going on in a great way. And it's everything I love, babies and music.
Oh, yes, the two joyful things in life.
Exactly.
Was there a decision to sort of put that news out there in the lead up to the album because you're doing a lot of press, or did it just feel like the right moment? What's your kind of thinking around that being on such a public platform?
I think it was just the right time. And I said from like the beginning, I spoke to all the doctors and all the specialists, and we all kind of come to an agreement that it would be best to share the news after like the scans all went okay and everything was fine. And then also I'm a bit bored of hiding it now.
Yes, because I can see you doing a lot of performances and things, and I guess you have to be very strategic of hiding it in that moment.
Yeah, it's so annoying. Like the outfits are not necessarily what I want to wear, but they cover the bump the best. And it's like there's been a lot of that going on behind the scenes that I'm really tired of now. So I'm like, just free the bump.
Yes, free the bump. It's out there.
Yeah.
We love that.
Like,
well, leading up into this moment of your debut release and seeing the excitement around the anticipation from fans and you doing these performances, I wanted to sort of take you back to, I guess, young Perrie and what she would have made of this huge success. Was this something that when you were growing up and singing, I know both your parents are into music, is this something that you ever pictured for yourself?
I think so. I think I pictured it differently, but I always pictured singing. So I knew singing was like my thing and it's what I wanted to do. But I didn't think I'd get this lucky in life and actually be living out my dream, which is crazy. But whenever I go through things or whenever I meet certain people, or like I met Anastasia the other day.
Oh, wow.
And she was like one of my biggest idols growing up as a little girl. And I used to listen to her album constantly on repeat in the car. And then I met up with her and we exchanged numbers and we're like chatting. And I'm like, obviously I'm just like, oh, that's so cool. But little Perrie would die if she knew she was like messaging the Anastasia, and she'd be freaking the hell out. So I think like there is times in my career and in my life that I sit back and I think, whoa, this is wild.
It's always the people that you loved as you were growing up that, I don't know about you, but I meet so many celebrities in this line of work, and it's always the people that I loved growing up that I get the most starstruck around, I guess because they've been with you the longest.
I think that's what it is, yeah. Because there's so many people that I could meet and I'd be like, oh, that's so cool. But you're right. When you're a kid and you grow up looking at this person and you think they're so like untouchable and just incredible, and then you kind of meet up with them when you're older, you're like, that is weird. But in the best way.
Oh, just think of all the people that you watched growing up who are probably at this moment singing along to your music in the car or putting it on to get ready in the background. Like that's the most surreal feeling. Were you always the kid who was singing around home or wanting to be in the school musicals? Like what was that moment for you like of sort of finding your voice at a young age?
I would sing constantly. So I was constantly humming or constantly singing, or, spending hours and hours in my bedroom singing, but I would never really do it publicly. I wasn't the type to like want to be in the school plays and want to audition for things. That kind of stuff really used to terrify me.
Oh, right.
So I didn't really start singing publicly till I was about 15, maybe.
Oh, wow. That's so interesting to think of now is like, where you are now, and sort of, was it a bit of a looking back now as an adult looking back on it and a teenager, was it a bit of almost stage fright or anxiety, or was it just not your place at that time?
Oh gosh, no, I was terrified. I just didn't want to do it. I knew I could sing and I loved singing, but doing it in front of people would just make me feel sick. So I was just terrified to do anything like that. It took me a while to get the confidence. I think doing like performing arts at college really helped me come out my shell a lot, because everybody in the room was just so big and like over the top and like animated in the best way. And I was just the opposite of that. So I think they kind of brought me out my shell a lot.
Oh, I love that.
and we did loads of shows and things like that. So I think after that, I started to think, oh, this is really good.
Yeah, that feeling of being on stage would kind of trump the anxiety in a way.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I've heard you talk many years, because I've been a fan for a very, very long time of your music and everything. And I've heard you talk many times over the years about the beautiful relationship that you have with your mother, how close you were growing up, and that she was really the one to kind of give you a bit of a push into performing. Is that right? Like she could see what you were going to become.
Yeah, she was always the one trying to push me. And I was so painfully shy. I was useless. And she'd be like, why can't you just do it? And I'm like, I can't, I'm so scared. But yeah, it was my mum she's always pushed me because she's always been my biggest cheerleader and biggest fan. But I suppose when you're growing up, you just think your mum thinks you're the best anyway. I could be the worst singer in the world and my mum could have been like, you're amazing. But I think I didn't fully support her, love for my voice and everything like that. I was like, nah, you're crazy. But then, yeah, I think even now she's the one that still has expectations and kind of knows what I can do and everything like that. Whereas I'm still a little bit in the same headspace of I don't know. But yeah, she's always been my biggest fan.
Oh, right. Do you still get a bit of stage fright to this day? I mean, as an outsider and watching you perform over the years, that it doesn't come across that way at all. But are you still the kind of person who will say to your mum before a big performance, I don't know if I can do this even now?
Yeah, I think it's more the releasing things and putting things out, and it's all the fear of the unknown really, which I think is completely normal because I think that would be the same for anybody in any kind of line of work that they're in. But yeah, I do still get really nervous and I get scared. But once I'm on stage, I'm kind of the happiest version of myself.
Yes.
So it's it's a little bit giddy before I get on, but then once I'm on, I'm like, oh, this is what I love. So I definitely don't get as nervous now as I did when I was a kid.
Oh, okay. Well, that is good. I guess that's that's one of the lovely things I always say about to people who are scared of growing up and getting older. I'm like, but you just start to feel more confident. Things are easier. That's the beautiful thing as you get older is you do get to be able to overcome some of those big fears that you had growing up.
Yeah, definitely. And you just care less as well about people's opinions. I think you really step into your power as you get older. I think you just become the person you want to be and you're not worried about outside noise as much. And I think everything comes with age. I think grace, everything, understanding, it all comes with age. So I enjoy getting older because I start to give less fucks really as I get older.
I know. I'm really finding that as well. That's why I say to all the younger people in this office who are worried about going to their 30s, I was like, no, it's actually lovely because, you just feel more confident in yourself. And so I also understand that going into that time, leading into the X Factor auditions, it was your mum that was pushing you to go along. Is that right? Is she the one who was sort of this is your moment?
Yes. And I didn't want to go. And I remember really embarrassed. And I was like, what if friends at school see me or friends at college? It's just embarrassing. My mum was like, no, it's not. And she woke me up in the middle of the night and drove me to Glasgow.
Oh,
because
wow.
Newcastle auditions were cancelled. So I was like, yes. And then, lo and behold, she comes in, she drags me out of bed and off we go to Glasgow. So I'm grateful for my mum pushing me into it. At the time, I was like, why are you doing this? But now that I'm older, I get it. She could see the potential, she could see the talent, and she just wanted me to kind of succeed, I guess. So now I'm so grateful she did it.
Oh, I feel like we all owe your mum a huge debt. She was really putting in the work behind the scenes to get you to be this musician that people have loved for so many years. So, yeah, I feel like we owe her quite a big debt for what she's done for the world.
Know. Well done, Debs.
Yes, well done, Debbie. And going into those early X Factor days, I know that must seem like a million years away to you now, or maybe it feels like yesterday. I don't know how those kind of very vivid memories work. You were 17 at the time, is that correct, in 2011? Yeah. What were your memories of that time of being in those audition rooms and being on that stage? And were you looking at it as a life-changing moment, or were you looking at it with the shyness that you're talking about as something I just have to get through this and then I can go home?
Yeah, I think I was my mum kept saying to me, look, if you don't get through and you don't get through the auditions, just look at it as life experience and just makes you who you are as you get older. And I'm like, oh, great. Yeah, getting a big fat nose is going to really shape me as a human.
And on TV as well.
Yeah, exactly. The majority of the auditions happen before you even see the judges. So you have to audition in front of like the producers and everything, maybe 4 or 5 auditions, then you see the judges, and then you go through like the whole X Factor kind of regimented thing. But before that, it was like audition after audition after audition. And I think I got so bored of it that I was like, oh, I'm not really nervous anymore. It's just a bit long.
Right, okay.
So much and you were there for hours all day, every day. So I think it got to the point where I was like making friends there, and we were having like a laugh, and it was like a little day out, and I thought, oh, it's quite fun actually. So then it just became a bit more of like a thing. And then once it started to get real, then I started to think, oh my God, this could actually happen for me.
And so initially you were taken out of the solo auditions and then put into a group. Did that sort of help with the audition process going through, that you were standing then side by side with these other people, and you, I guess, got to form your own little safety net within this huge kind of what was such a global show at the time?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like I rang my mum at boot camp crying my eyes out every day. I was like, please pick me up, I hate it here. And then my mum was like, look, if you're lucky, you'll get put in a group. And I was like, do you think? It's just like, yeah. Because if you think about it, like I just said, I was so painfully shy. I really performed in front of people before. And X Factor was my first kind of big thing that I did. So I think having like the girls beside me and being put in a group just brought out a confidence that I didn't necessarily have at the beginning. So I think it was the best thing that could have happened to me, to be honest.
Oh, that's such a lovely way to look at it. And again, going on then to sort of those days in Little Mix and the band blowing up and people being so invested in you as a singer, and you're doing huge tours and you're doing appearances. And I remember looking at the paparazzi videos at the time, and all just like the fans just dying, crying in the street, some of them tears pouring down their faces at seeing you. And you're at such a young age at that time. What do you think when you kind of look back on that moment? Were you able to stop in that moment and think, wow, this is incredible? Or was there a certain kind of, I guess, pressure of then like, now we've won, now there's these expectations, and now we have to go and be this successful band that people think we're going to be?
Yeah, I think it was a little bit of both. I think, when I look back now, I wish we could have kind of lived in the moment a lot more, because we did have so much fun. Like we had such a laugh, like we took the mic, like we just had the best time, but we worked so hard and we were so hard on ourselves to become successful, and kind of, we were told several times that girl bands don't do well and Little Mix wouldn't do well. You're not going to make it. And we wanted to prove people wrong, so much so that we kind of ran ourselves into the ground a lot of the time. And I think like back then it was like crazy as well. Like you're saying, the fans and the paparazzi and everything at the time, but it was all just a bit much to take on board in the moment. But when I look back now, I'm like, wow, that was wild.
Yeah.
But it was probably a good thing that we were so busy that we didn't really have time to ponder on it, because maybe it would have been a bit much at that age.
Maybe that busyness of just keep going. But that's always the thing, those big times in your life, you always look back afterwards and think, oh, I wish I just enjoyed that more. But I guess when you're in it, that's hard to kind of move into that. And you talk about also working so much, long hours, the tour hours, all those sorts of things. But were there moments where you sort of remember enjoying that fame for the first time? Like, was there a moment where you got a paycheck and you got to buy something crazy? Because I would have just like run to Topshop or something if I was your age, or buy something for your family. Or when was the first moment you got to have like a little bit of indulgence off your fame?
Oh, I don't know. I think we did like an advert on X Factor. And it was very early days, and we were still on the show. And this was just before we won, I think. We were on a big advert with loads of different people. And then we did like whatever. I can't even remember what it was for. M&S maybe. And we did a few different things, and we actually got paid for those things.
Oh, right.
Going to the cash point with my mum and my brother, and I was like, oh my gosh, there's money in my account. It's like and my brother like whacked me on the head, and he was like, no, it's more than that. And I was like, what number is that? I didn't even know what number it was.
Wow.
Obviously it was crazy, but for me, like from humble beginnings, I've never seen money before in an account, so I was freaking out. And me, my mum and my brother were like freaking out in the street, but trying not to be too much of a thing to make people stop and stare. And then I remember going to the Apple store and just buying my whole family like laptops.
Oh, that's so nice of you to like spread the wealth around the family straight away.
Yeah, I felt rich. I was like, you get a laptop, you get a laptop, you get a laptop. up. It was epic.
Oh, I love
So,
that.
yeah, I'm really grateful for that. It's great. And I think like when we did fan events and things like that, and we got to actually see them in the flesh, like up close, and seeing how much they just loved us, it was like that's when I'd be like, shoot, like we're actually doing something amazing here. This is wild.
Oh, that's a beautiful way to look at it, and the fans as well, because again, like music that you sing along to, especially when you're a teenager and so many of your fans at the time, like so many adults, but young girls, like there's nothing I think that really trumps that feeling of falling in love with a band for the first time and sleeping out for tickets or sleeping out to get into a concert and all those kind of things. Like there's nothing that kind of, I think, replaces that feeling. So it must be nice to know that you were that for so many people.
Oh yeah, it was the best feeling ever. It was epic.
And you were saying before that when you first got into the band, there was a bit of talk around girl bands not succeeding or being a bit harder to establish. And obviously we've seen over the years from so many different musicians that that's not true. There's a huge appetite for that music. And I wanted to ask you about the Brit Awards win when you were up on stage. And as a group, you said, the industry is filled with like a lot of sexism, misogyny, but we've pushed through, and this win is for all the other girl groups out there, and you name some of them. And I just think that's like such a powerful moment in pop culture across the world. Like that clip still gets played across so many social media platforms now, and people still resonate with it because of how powerful that statement was. What does it mean to you now to sort of look back on that and be such a history-making moment, but also decide as a group that you were going to make it about all the women in the industry?
Yeah, I think that's what Little Mix was always about. It wasn't just like, we're doing this and this is our path and this is that. We just wanted to pave the way for other girls, other women in the industry, girl bands that came before and after us that we thought was so deserving of winning that award. So we just couldn't really comprehend that. And we were like, that's just so weird because they were freaking great. So that's why we wanted to kind of shout out, you know, that in our acceptance speech, just to be like, you all deserve this. You got overlooked and it wasn't fair in a very male dominant industry.
Yeah, it's lovely that I think that moment is still remembered so strongly around the world.
Yeah.
And when you were then deciding to move into a solo career and what you wanted those sounds to look like, but also at the same time, you're coming off this huge career and this huge worldwide fame. Was there any part of you that thought like, oh, I don't have to go into a solo career. That's not what I want to do. I want to give myself a rest. Or did you sort of come into that mindset of being like, this is what I want to do and this is what I want my sound to be as a solo artist?
I don't know. I think I kind of did get to a little bit of a crossroads where I was like, do I do it? Do I not? I think I kind of owed it to myself to do it because it's something that I love. But at the same time, I was like, oh, I know the industry. I know how hard it is. And the industry is completely different now, even to what it was back then. And I think part of me was a bit like, should I even do it? I don't know. And that wasn't because of laziness. That was just because I thought, is it something that's going to actually make me happy? And then I think when I started like making music and being in the studio, I thought, no, this is what I just love to do. I just love singing. So I think any opportunity where I can be on the stage and be performing and get that adrenaline rush and like all that stuff that comes with being a singer, I just, I wanted to give it a go and just see what happens.
Yes, and just sing and I guess know that like old fans, new fans would all sort of be there to hear the new material that you were releasing and would be excited to hear it.
Yeah, exactly.
And so coming into 2024, you released the single Forget About Us, which is such a banger. One of the ones I sing along to in the car quite a bit myself. And you've said about that it's about past relationships and looking back on what worked and what didn't and where you are now. How do you go in the process of sort of looking back on all these past relationships and feelings and then picking out the moments that you want to put into a song? What is that process like? Because I guess from an outsider's perspective, it just looks like so many different feelings and thoughts to distill down into this song that you want to put out into the world.
Yeah, I think it's different every time. With that one, it was, it was written by Ed Sheeran. It felt like a big pop song. And it just felt really big. And I loved the sound of it and I loved the vibe of it. And at the time, I didn't have a first single or what I thought would be my first single. And I think concept-wise, I like that it was just relatable. I feel like so many people go through life where they have relationships with people that didn't work because it was wrong person or wrong time or whatever the circumstances are. But at the same time, it happened and it's part of your life, and it makes you who you are when you're older. It kind of shapes you as a person. And there's such huge, impactful moments in your life that I kind of thought, like, yeah, you don't want to forget that it happened. Of course, it didn't work. Do I want to be there? No. Do I want to talk with that person? Heck no. But it happened. And I'm so grateful for the life experience it taught me.
Yes.
And just everything about it. So I'm like, I don't want to forget that it happened. I'm actually glad it happened, whether it was good or bad. So I think that's kind of the concept around that song. And that's why I loved it so much.
Yeah, that's a really relatable take. I think that idea of like you have looking back on your past pain. And again, that whole thing we're saying earlier of getting older and be able to look back on things with like, I'm glad that happened. And now I can sort of think of it in a different light is really powerful.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was reading that you were in the studio working on the album and you had singles and you had music, and then you decided to put a little bit of a pause and kind of reconfigure a few things. Is that right? And sort of look at doing things a bit of a different way.
Yeah. I think I was just like feeling the pressure a lot from everybody as well. I feel like when you come from a group, everyone has such expectations of you. You're not a new artist anymore. People already know who you are because you're quite established from a group. But then when you go solo, if you're not doing what people thought or wanted or hoped you would do, it's almost like they just shit all over it. So it's a bit like, okay. So it's kind of stressful. And I think I just got to the point where I was like, right, I don't feel like I'm being truly authentic to myself. I don't feel like, I wasn't writing the material. It wasn't coming from me. It didn't feel that genuine. And I was thinking, no wonder they think this way, because even I think it. So I'm like, who am I trying to kid? So I think I just kind of put the brakes on a little bit, had a little bit of a break, went back in the studio with a fresh head, took the pressure off, and just thought, right, I have what I think is my album. Can I better it? Can I do what I would rather do and see where I get to? And then I think as soon as I did that, there was just a huge shift in like my creative juices and everything like that. It just felt so much better. So I'm glad I did that, because I'm glad I stuck to my guns. And now my album is so me. It's so authentic. It's just like from my heart, really. So I love it.
Well, that's a very admirable thing to do, because I can imagine that when that wheel's in motion of making an album, there's so many different people involved, and you've talking to different people about album releases and musicians, and even people in your own life of what your schedule looks like. There would be the thought that I'll just push on and I'll keep going and I'll make it work, but to have the sort of strength to say this isn't right, I'm going to stop and make it what the album I want it to be, I think is very admirable. Are there people in your life, do you make those decisions by yourself, or are there people in your life where you crisis call and say like, I'm thinking of doing this, what do I do? What's the kind of process around that?
So I think the hardest thing about being an artist is like the kind of voices and opinions around you 24/7 from your team, your label, the higher powers, all these different things. And I think it can be really hard to kind of stay true to yourself, because you can get easily led when everyone's saying this is great and this is it, but you don't feel like it in your gut. You can still be swayed. So I think in this industry, being like a solo artist especially, it's really hard to stay true to yourself. So I'm glad that I've got like people around me that I can go to and be like, I'm not feeling it. I don't feel good. Like my manager, Sam, she goes to war for me every day, bless her. And she'll have my back. And then I've got like my family, my mum, my partner, Alex. And I think they know what I want to do and what decisions I want to make. So they just back me 100%, because then it's authentic anyway. So I think they're definitely the key people in my life, luckily, because it is quite difficult. It's tough sometimes.
And I wanted to ask you about Alex, so thank you for bringing him up, because there's that lovely song, You Go Your Way, about your relationship in those early days. Can you tell me a little bit about what it was like to meet him and how your love story started?
Yeah, of course. We met on Rhea, Rhea, the dating app.
Yes, I do.
That was like the hot thing at the time. And
it's still the hot thing. The wait lists for it across the world apparently have escalated to such an extent. There's millions of people trying to go on, like celebrities trying to get on. There was a press release about it the other day, and they're just at capacity. So I think you got in at a good time, because now everyone wants on.
Yeah, that's crazy. I feel like when I was on it, there wasn't that many people on there. There was, but it wasn't like hundreds of thousands of people you could pick from. It was a very shallow pool. But it was kind of good because it was like quite exclusive at the time. But this was 10 years ago, so obviously it's different now. But yeah, we met on there, and then we started chatting and exchanged numbers, and then nothing really came about. And then I was like, I think I seen him on Gogglebox. They did like the England squad, the players were on Gogglebox. And I was like, oh my God, that's that guy that I was talking to on Rhea. He seems really funny, really nice, he's really cute. And then Jessie made me message him. So I messaged him and I was like, hi, when are you taking me out for a drink?
That's a good opening line. That's a nice casual but like exciting opening line. And it obviously worked.
Yeah, well, I was cringing at the time, but I was like, oh, what have I got to lose? I'd been single for a little while. So I thought, yeah, I'll give it a go. And I dated a lot, but everybody just gave me the ick and nobody was it. Like, it was just annoying. I couldn't be bothered with anybody, to be honest. I think I was just like, right, I'd rather just be on my own. And then I met him and then I just thought, oh my God, he's perfect. He's everything that I was wanting to meet. And I think I needed somebody like him to come into my life to change my opinion on men, especially. So I was like, yeah, this is great. He's lovely. Fancied him straight away.
Oh, what a beautiful love story.
And then that was it. We were just like inseparable ever since. So we went out a lot, met all each other's friends and everything like that. So yeah, it was great. And he was just a gentleman. He was lovely.
And your song Go Your Way, I understand that's from the early days of your relationship. Is that correct? When you had just met, but you were going off on a tour and you sort of said to him, you were thinking he needed a break. And can you talk me through sort of like that moment and how it led to this song?
Yeah, it was a bit random. So it was, this was a Joy Anonymous song. And I love Joy Anonymous. I think he's the coolest guy. And I'm obsessed with him. And this song like kind of made me think back to a time when Alex and I first started dating. Like, we were seeing each other, we really liked each other. You know, I was getting feelings, he was catching feelings, but neither of us had said anything. And then I was going to America 3 months to do the Ariana Grande tour.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I just remember sitting him down after like a date one night and I was like, look, I'm going to be away for 3 months. I don't expect you to wait for me. So why don't we just go our separate ways for now? Like, I'll do my own thing, you can do your thing. And if we're meant to be, then maybe after the tour we'll kind of come back together.
Yeah.
And he's like, he was horrified. Suggestion. And he was like, that's gross. Why would you do that? And I'm like, because I'm going to be out of the country in America traveling for 3 months. And we've just met. So like, and we were both quite young at the time. I just thought, I don't want to put that pressure on him. And he was like, absolutely not. Like, you're my girlfriend. I don't want to do that. And I was like, oh, is that you asking me or telling me? And he was like, well, I'm asking you, do you want to be my girlfriend? So I thought we were like boyfriend and girlfriend. I'm like, oh, okay then. And then we just had to like FaceTime or Skype, was it 10 years ago? I don't know. But we just Skyped every day, messaged constantly. And then I think we came back for like one night to do the Brits. We performed at the Brits, won an award, spent the night, and then went back to America. So I think I got to see him like once in that 2.5, 3 months. But yeah, he waited.
Oh, that's really beautiful. And also so ties in with your song, If He Wanted To, He Would, because he made it work the distance. And there's so many of us out here who are just, the bar is so low across the board. And so when you hear something like that it's like true love and true commitment, that's really lovely.
Yeah. I think that my bar was so low, that's why I was like, do you want to just part ways? The fact that he was disgusted in that, I was like, oh, okay.
Oh, what a green flag.
And he's waiting for me and he's willing to do these things. So I think he just had a lot of maturity as well. You know, but you're right. If he wanted to, he definitely would, and he did. So
yeah, I think it's a wake up call a lot of people need. So thank you for that. a bit of tough love across the board. And as you said, you've been together for over 10 years now, and you welcomed your beautiful son a few years ago. How has being a mother changed the way you look at your career and your music, and how has it shaped what you want to do going forward?
Oh God, it's like impacted my life completely. In the best way possible, though. I think, like, I say to all my friends that becoming a mom is like one of the best things in the world. Like, I didn't grow up as the kind of girl that was like, I want to get married and this is going to be my wedding and plan all those things. But I knew growing up I wanted to be a mom and I wanted to have kids and I wanted to like live vicariously through them and just have the magic of that. And I think having Axel is everything that I would hope being a mom would be like. He's just an absolute hoot. He's funny. He's charismatic. He like comes out with the funniest things, and I just love the innocence of children. I just think they're so funny. And he's just the best thing ever. So I just adore him. I think when you have big things that impact your life drastically, but definitely becoming a parent changes your outlook on everything. Because I used to worry a lot about, what people thought of me, or am I doing enough? And I was very critical of myself. And then once I birthed a full-on human, I thought, why do I care? I've just birthed a whole human.
Yeah.
And now I feel like a badass, and I feel like I just look at things completely different now. I don't sweat the small stuff. Little things happen that would really annoy me, and now I'm just like, oh well. Like, I think I've just definitely, changed my perspective on things, but in the best way possible. I think it's made me a way better person.
Oh, that's a really beautiful way to look at it. I know he's still very young, but is he at the age now that he knows that his mum is sort of one of the biggest musicians in the world? Or like, what's his kind of reaction to that? Or does he think everyone's mum sings to stadiums and performs on TV and all those things?
I think so. He doesn't really get it. But they did something at nursery like a few months ago. Obviously he's in big school now. But at nursery, they were saying, tell us about your parents and what did they do and what do you want to be when you grow up? And he was like, well, my dad is a footballer and I think my mum dances.
I mean, not wrong. He's quite correct.
Yeah. I'm like, I could do a cheeky two-step or two, but I'm a singer, darling. I'm like, Mummy's a singer, remember? And he's like, oh yeah. He just doesn't really get it, to be honest. He doesn't fully connect the dots. And if we're out in public and people want pictures and stuff, he's a bit like, what are you doing? And then he wants to be in the picture. So I think he's very young at the moment. He doesn't fully understand it yet.
Yeah.
I don't know what age that'll become a thing. I don't know, maybe 6, 7.
Well, I'm not sure. I guess also when the new baby arrives and he also gets to sort of see you be in full mum mode and full album release mode. And what do those, I mean, that's a lot. I can't believe one human being is going to do all that. But what do those next few months look like for you? As I said, you're expecting a baby, which is very, very exciting. And you're touring, about to release this new album. And then you've got a baby, a son to look after at home. How is that schedule going to work? Not to stress you out on this call.
I know, I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm going to ring my manager after this and be like, I can't do it.
You can do it. I think you can.
Yeah, well, I've been doing it the last few months and I think I've handled it quite well. Obviously, Axel's back in school now, which is great. So it just means I've got more time to do my stuff. My mum is always with me. So she's basically my village. Good old steps. And Alex is home now. So that's making things easier again. So I think I'm definitely... my album's been my dream for years and it's what I've wanted, and I've worked so hard and fought so much and had to go through so many freaking obstacles that you wouldn't believe to get this album to go ahead. So now that it's finally happening, I just want to be able to do my everything and do as much as I can. But I think it's all about balance. And again, my manager's really good at doing that kind of thing. And, when people are like, why isn't she doing this? Why isn't she doing that? It's probably because I don't want to.
Yes.
Because I can't physically do it. I have so much in my schedule and we have to prioritize everything. And it's not as straightforward as just, right, you're going to do this, and that's the plan. We've got to plan everything ahead. We've got to schedule everything. We've got to make sure I have time to get myself together. And there's a lot to do, but at the same time, it's so exciting that I'm just like, I'm so ready for it.
Yeah.
And then it's just before Christmas as well. So it's great. So I can work.
Yes.
And enjoy Christmas.
And what is it like being on, I guess, this press tour for the album, and also knowing that once it comes out, there's going to be all these, I guess, people reading into different lyrics or people playing it. And you've been in the public eye for such a long time. Do you get excited when you're leading up to these periods where you know that people are going to be talking about you even more? Or is there a little bit of anxiety of being in the public face a little bit more during this time? How do you balance that side of it?
I think I'm more just excited. And I think I'm more just at the stage where I just want my album out. So, and I love it so much.
Yes.
And I'm so proud of it. And I feel like it's everything I wanted it to be. So now all I can do is release it. And if people like it, they like it. If they don't, they don't. That's out of my control. So I think the parts that I can control, I've done now. I've done my best. I've worked my hardest. I've done everything to the top standard I possibly could. And now it's just down to the public and how they perceive it and how it does. But I think because I feel so confident in it, I'm just happy either way. As long as my fans hear it and they love it, then I'm happy. I really care about.
Yeah, that's a really beautiful way to look at it. I guess like that's with any piece of art, whether it's an album, a movie, a book, anything, once you put it out into the world, it becomes the property of the fans and the people to consume it and the way they want to sort of take that. So that's a really lovely way to look at it.
Yeah.
And speaking of that, like living in the public eye and the press tour, recently you've talked about like a few different personal things, and in the lead up to sharing your pregnancy, talked a little bit about suffering pregnancy loss, which I'm very sorry to hear that, and I hope you and your family are doing okay. But what I noticed after those stories, that you talked about those stories publicly, is just the threads of comments underneath from women saying, "Thank you for sharing. I've been through this. I'm going through it now." Was it a difficult decision to make those private parts of your life public? And do you see that outpouring from women thanking you for doing it?
I never intentionally wanted to go public with that. I think, it happened a few years ago, and we've kind of kept it as in our circle. So like my best friends, my family, obviously Alex and I. And then I did the podcast with Paul, and I think because he was so like safe and calming, and it was almost like a therapy session but filmed, and I don't think I was really thinking of it like this is the time to go public. It kind of just came out. It felt like a natural kind of way to do it. But I didn't think I would ever discuss things like that, not because I didn't want to raise awareness for it, and not because I know so many people have gone through it, like women and friends of mine, and it's really hard. But the only reason I didn't want to discuss it is because I found it too difficult to discuss. So I thought, I'm just never going to talk about it. I'm just going to keep it in, and that be that. Because it's really hard. It's awful. So
yes, well, I did again. I was very sorry to hear that, and I can only imagine that going through the pain, but then also having that threat of like the public potentially finding out. And I think it's really lovely, as you were saying, that your inner circle knew, but a word of it was never breathed to the public. So it must be nice to know that you've always got that inner circle around you who will hold tight to any of those stories.
They are the best. Like nothing gets out of my circle. They're very strong. They take that to the grave.
That is good to know, because there are so many celebrities who say they still, Pete Davidson was saying the other day, and I've heard other celebrities say it, that they have to sometimes even now like plant different stories within their friendship groups to see who will leak it and all that sort of thing. So I think that's really lovely to not be on that track. Yeah.
No, there's none of that for me. Everybody just kind of knows in my inner circle. They know everything. So luckily I don't have that issue. And if I had someone couldn't be trusted, I wouldn't tell them anything. So
that is a lovely way to go through life. And so in anticipation of the album about to come out, we've heard some of the singles. A lot of them will be under wraps until it's released. What are you hoping that people take away from this single? I know we've talked through from this album. I know we've talked through this sort of behind the scenes of a few different songs, but what is the kind of, journey that you hope listeners will go on when they sit down and llisten to all the songs all the way through?
I'm just intrigued to see what ones people love the most, what people like click with, because it's a whole body of work and everyone's going to have different opinions on what their favorites are. So I'm just so intrigued to see what everyone's going to think. And like I say, I love it so much, so I'm expecting everyone else to be like, yeah, it's a great album. But yeah, I think I'm just excited to get it out there so I can start having the conversations with the fans and DMing them and just getting to know the insights of what they think of everything. That's the most exciting bit, I think.
Oh, you DM with fans?
Oh, yeah, all the time.
Oh, wow. Someone with such a big following, I find that surprising that you do ever delve in there and just think, oh, God, I don't know what I'm going to find in my messages? Or is it usually pretty just like when people wanting to discuss the music?
Yeah, I think it's like the fans, we talk about all kinds of stuff. We talk about like the Summer I Turned Pretty that we're watching at the minute.
Oh, wait, which team are you? I need to know.
Team Conrad, what are you?
Yes, no, I am Team Conrad, but I feel bad for Jeremiah. I actually think that she just needs to go live in Paris and just not go near those boys again, because it's been a bit of a messy situation.
I don't want her to choose herself. That's cute and all, but no.
Not now.
I want Connie and Belly to have a forever after, because they've always been day ones. But anyway, me and the fans get into this constantly. We talk about all kinds of stuff. But yeah, I always talk to my fans as much as possible, really. They're just so lovely. So yeah, and that's the thing with social media. You can kind of have that platform where you feel close to them. But yeah, we chat about all kinds of crap.
Oh, that's really, well, I mean, I'm sure for many people that's exciting for them. And having those real life fan interactions, like, has there been a particularly memorable one? Because I know there's so many times where, as we were saying before, I've seen fans cry in front of you or get very excited. What's your most memorable fan interaction?
Oh gosh, I couldn't say. There's just been so many. I don't think I've it's very rare I've ever had like a bad interaction with anyone. It's always lovely.
Well, that is lovely. Well, I think we're almost out of time, so we'll have to wrap it there. But, Perrie, it has just been so glorious to talk to you. And I've listened to the album all the way through. It's just really lovely from the songs they've sent me. And I'm so excited for everyone else to hear it. And yeah, it's just always such a joy to watch you on stage and a joy to talk to you now. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day.